Welcome back to Tyranny. Okay. I suppose I should talk to the folks around here before I leave. Well, let's talk to my buddies at the Scarlet Chorus first. Nice job making it out of Vendrian's Wall in one piece. Must be easy when you can hide in the spire. Fatebinder, you're no stranger to Tunan's court, but I prefer to spend a little time here as possible. In spite of these closed walls, I feel strangely exposed. He glances up at Tunan. So good of you to join our little family with the voices. Make you feel right at home. You'll make our time in the Tears an interesting one, won't you? He smiles for an uncomfortably long time. Of course you will. You gave me something during the conquest. Tidecaster elders to interrogate. Now I'll give you something in return. He whispers an arcane symbol in your ear, one that you won't soon forget. What did I learn? Ooh, a new spell course, Sigil of Emotions, very nice. That will be useful. Right. Talk to the disfavored. They're not going to be very happy with me, but it is what it is. I am duty-bound to remain civil to you in this vaunted court, but don't push it, traitor. Really, I'm a traitor. I took Ascension Hall, and saved all our asses. And I'm the traitor, huh? Aurora avoids making eye contact with you, but instead carries on speaking with your company. Fatebinder, the lieutenant gives you a curt nod. I'm ill at ease in this polished hall, but I admit that it's a reprieve from the battlefield and training grounds. If Ash needs me to stay here and represent his interests throughout the occupation, then I'll be up to the task. Just a quick check with the other Fatebinders to see if there's any new options came up. We speak again, so let us speak genuinely and at length with one another. Now, what matter would you like to discuss? The Fatebinder rubs his fingers along the edge of his jaw, regarding you of interest. Tell me more about Kairos' armies, our allies. Ah yes, with friends like these, our work is often self-explanatory. Were you asking about the Scarlet Chorus or the Disfavored? Scarlet Chorus soldiers hail from every corner of every realm. As the chorus marches, it conscripts indiscriminately from those it has conquered to replenish its ranks. There is no continuity of command in the chorus. Nera allows, encourages even, the strong to challenge the leaders. But the chorus has numbers, and brute force is almost always a viable solution, much as Rogulus insists otherwise. Besides, the Scarlet Chorus draws strength from the multitudes it swallows. Its blood chanters have taken knowledge from various Tears mystics, and many of the Chorus' best soldiers were grown here in the south. Makes sense. That's how Alexander the Great was so successful. He took people from the armies he conquered into his own, learned their techniques, adapted it to his own army. The Disfavored are the iron tip of Kairos' great phalanx, armed with the best weapons, the most comprehensive training, and led by the brilliant Graven Ash. The Disfavored have no equal in open battle. The Legion has a saying, Graven Ash protects, and it's no empty boast. The Archon of War is able to lend his will and strength to his soldiers and give them endurance beyond human limits. I have great respect for the Disfavored, but I know where I stand with them. They are a very close-knit band, all of them from northern families, many of them related to each other. Nunabel sighs, his smile wistful. But considering our role in the great hierarchy, I can't fault General Ash for being selected. The guards mirror the unwieldy. You look as if you need something. Talia tips her head to one side, a glimmer of curiosity in her dark, discerning eyes. I have some concerns about the war. You're free to share them in my confidence. She leans in closer. I don't really like any of those choices. Fatebinder, you return. Rogoros looks you up and down with an inscrutable expression. You look as if you have questions for me to untangle. Ask. I am feeling generous. I will not speak of the sages. They are no better than charlatans and cons, wholly selfish in their ill pursuit to hoard all knowledge from others. They are self-blinded by their own deceptions and clever manipulations. They alone caused their own undoing and are solely to blame for the burning library, one of the most grievous of wrongdoings in the history for which they can never be forgiven. Okay. Alright, it's time to leave, I guess. Where to go next? Oh. Bladen Mark. Welcome back, kid. Amusing as it would have been to watch the edict drop, I guess I'm glad you lived. Bladen Mark, Archon of Shadows, rouses from a faraway stare, turning to face you with a wry smile. Though he stands still, he seems to sift in and out of the shadows that shroud him. Sided with the Scarlet Chorus, huh? You like secrets and trickery. The Archon gives you a long stare, punctuated at the end of a short sneer. Time was of the essence, but Ash was slow to act. I sided with the Archon that could ensure my survival. It's not surprising that he'd be cautious. Ash's Legion has warred without reinforcements for years. Unlike the Voices, when his soldiers die, his army dwindles. I imagine you're off to meet with Voices for, well, whatever it is he has in mind. But first, you and I need to have a little chat. I'm listening. Everyone's keeping an eye on you, because you did something nobody has done before. Gotta guess what that might be? I'm the first to resolve an edict before its consequences come to pass. Close, but not quite. It's rare, but it's not the first time that Kairos has issued an edict primarily as a threat, providing the target sufficient time and motivation to comply in order to avoid the edict's punishing effects. Proclaiming an edict isn't you. Neither is surviving or resolving the commandments of an edict. But you're the first to proclaim and resolve the very same edict. It didn't kill you. In one fell swoop, you survived your second edict, resolved the very one you had proclaimed, and awoke an arcane structure that had slept for several centuries. And now I go on your short list of people who stand out as potential problems? More or less. Mostly more. He offers you a dangerous grip. At least we have an understanding with each other. I don't care what you do with the information, but you should know the danger you're in now that you've put yourself on the map. When you're dealing with voices, don't forget that he'll be doing everything he can to figure out what makes you different and how he can use it for his own gain. Thanks for the advice. The Archon of Shadows shrugs to you in farewell, but his golden eyes are alight with interest as much as you. Alright, let's try this again. Alright. Map. Alright, so first things first, I should probably talk to my main man, Voices of the Rat. However, this doesn't even show me a path when I point at it. Lethian's Crossing is sort of on the way, which makes more sense to go there first. On the other hand, there's always the chance that Voices in the Rat gives me a mission in Lethian's Crossing. So, even though it's out of the way, I kind of think this makes more sense. Welcome to Cacophony, Fateminder. Narat's said to be expecting you. Where can I find the Voices of Narat? Northeast corner of the camp, near the only real building left. If he's not on his throne, he's wandering not too far from it. What can you tell me about Cacophony? It's the main stronghold of the Scarlet Chorus and the Tears. All chorus groups have some sort of people here. Horde, Scarlet, Furies, Blood Chanters, Bloodhound, even the Beastmen. Everybody's got their own section of camp. Better that way. Keeps the brawling to a minimum. Hopefully there are trainers and a merchant here too. I would think so. And right on cue. We got a merchant here if you need to buy anything. There's also the quartermaster, but Narat's got to give him the say. So before you're allowed to Narat's got to give him the say so before you're allowed to get your hands on chorus goods. I don't expect there to be a problem. Me and Narat, we're tight. Let me check my reputations. See, I'm pretty unfavored with the Scarlet Chorus. I have a Merciless, plus 5% hit precision on targets below 35% health. Sweet. Sweet. I'm good at finishing them off when they're down. Disfavored hate my ass. No surprise there. Venturing Guard really hate my ass. So, yeah. They're pretty scared of me. And I drain their strength. Nice. That's an active ability, okay. Lantry's kind of scared of me. Barrack is slightly loyal, fairly afraid of me. Briss is a little afraid of me and likes me a lot. Well, loyal anyway. Ebb is fairly loyal and frightened of me. Ebb imbues the Fatebinder's weapon with the ability to channel lightning through it. While the effect remains, the Fatebinder's attacks will evoke a powerful electrical explosion. That is freaking cool. Tunon likes me a lot. Graven Ash hates my guts. Voices of the Rat likes me. Blood and Mark kinda likes me. Spell creation, I'll go into that later. I might pick up more components for creating spells in here anyway. Welcome, Fatebinder. Can I interest you in my wares? Why, yes. Yes, you can. I don't have a lot of money, but I do have a bunch of stuff to sell. Version. Two-handed weapon. A spear? Fierce design is... Oh, it's a sword. It's a two-handed. I don't have anybody who uses those, though. So I'll just sell this. Get a bit of money for it, too. I don't need to sell the potion. So that. That gives me some money to work with. She doesn't really have, well, Sigil of Fire, okay. It's expensive. Sigil of Passion. You already know this. Okay. I kind of would like to get it. I'll probably buy this sooner or later, but I'm gonna hold off for now. That's right. I gotta speak with Voices of the Rat before my man will sell stuff to me. Okay, fair enough. Any trainers here? Some wolves. Splinter. Find more of your time, if you will. Yeah, no problem. Just a second. Let me talk to Splinter first. Overlord's blessing to you, Fatebinder. Regards, and so on and so forth. Might there be something I can help you with for the right price? Ah, okay. This is an arena. Gotcha. I'll come back to him. Alright. Just what we need, a Fatebinder of the courts. Look, I understand my rank, but I can't just bite my tongue when boss man Durridge thinks to get away with a crime of such proportions without bribing me first. He grins maniacally, staring daggers at his gang boss even as he speaks to you. Frig you, Raffrot, Durridge shakes his head. Murder written in his sneer, as if you'd settle for a rat rump and a fistful of rings. Admit it, the price you want's my head so you can stand atop our little crew. What crime is being charged? A capital one, Fatebinder, and I saw it with my own eyes. 3 nights back, boss man snuck into and out the old walls, running Wisdom Rise. You shit-face, Durridge barks at his subordinate. Think you can steal the throne when you're breathing around my blade in your chest? Or maybe it's your crafty forked tongue I should carve out first. He crosses his arms over his chest, simmering with indignation, but as he scowls, a hint of worry flickers across his furrowed brow. He licks his lips before entreating you to dismiss the complaint against him. Like I'd be dumb enough to risk my entrails scurrying around some fussy ruins. Think I don't know why they're forbidden? Scouring the old walls is just asking to incite Kairos' wrath. And I've got no death wish, either from the Bane within, nor Kairos above, nor a fate binder of Tunan before me. Dirge shifts his weight, waiting for you to speak for an uncomfortable stretch of silence, until he self-consciously scratches a patch of dry skin with a scalp. She thinks you did it, Rathrock taunts in mock whisper, causing his gang boss to snap rigid with anger. Yeah, it's true I've got no proof to say I've done nothing wrong, but you've also got no proof to say I have, because nothing happened aside from your ill-thought lies, he shouts back at the Horde member. So you're saying you didn't chase the sage right into the old walls? That's what you're saying, boss. That you followed her but didn't go in? Rathrock spits a vile grin, lips oozing wider with each accusation. He runs a tongue over his teeth, barely containing his violence and resentment. For a moment, you can see the whites of his eyes as he blinks away the shot, but it's quickly replaced with fury. You damn well know I didn't go in. He cocks his head to you, face flushed red as he explains. The thing is, me and Rath have been chasing a sage clear from Lethians. I guess she figured she wasn't going to slip us, so she made a beeline for this breach in the old walls. I know the law, so I wasn't about to follow her in. He wets his lips before continuing. But I'd also be loath to let an enemy of the Overlord slither free, so I cornered her before she could make it past the breach. This asshole here's the one who slit her damn throat as I held her down. Now he's saying he watched me waltz right into the old walls. Without him. Oh, come on, Fate Binder. You can believe that? I called you over here. I'm telling you what happened. Don't let him weasel out of a proper sentence. Why are you so eager for me to sentence Dirge, Rathrock? Eager? The Horde member rubs at the back of his neck ill at ease. I mean, I'm just thinking, on account of Dirge being a true criminal under Kairos' laws. He really isn't fit to lead this gang no more, so somebody like me ought to be running things. You see, Fatebinder, all he has is his scheming and lies. He knows he'll lose if he challenges me outright, so he thought he'd accuse me of a crime even the voices couldn't dismiss. He stares icily at Rathrock. Only those under direct orders from the Overlord or operating under the agency of Tunan's court may enter the old walls. Great! If you think I did it, what's to happen to me then? He scowls, face streaked with disbelief. That's the proper sentence. I'm no Fatebinder, but even I know the way of it. He sneers, eyes gleaming eagerly. Isn't that right, Fatebinder? It's a capital offense. There's no evidence that he entered. I'm not sentencing anybody. No crime has been committed, so no sentence is necessary. What? Are you fucking kidding me? He throws his hands up, utterly exasperated. Frickin' courts of Tunon. When have they ever helped a fella out? You heard the fate binder, Rathrock. Or are you going to start questioning her judgment now too? He grins at you. Thanks for the help, fate binder. But don't worry, you won't find neither me nor him near the old walls again. You had best reacquaint yourself with the laws of Kairos, fate binder. I think you forgot yourself. There was no evidence. It was one person's word against the other, and it was clear I was not going to be given any evidence. So, I mean, I'm going to stick with the, to use a baseball term, runner is safe. In case of a tie, runner is safe. We've got a problem we can't settle, Fatebinder. When we plotted against vile arson, we agreed we'd split the spoils 4 ways. But now that the rings, rugs, and booze bottles are laid before us, it seems some folks feel entitled to more than their fair share. Who's vile arson? A deranged pisser of a man and our old gang boss. He deserved everything he got and more. The Horde members all nod as Requiem explains. He stole whole cartfuls of rings and polished stones after Azure crumbled. We dug the items up, old bags of them all over the place, but got none of the payoff. Plus, he used to be Calamity Jin and gnashing nails for fun. Only those 2. He didn't beat the rest of you. Well, he tried once. The girl grins, boisterous and confident, in ways only a past triumph can provide. Requiem looked out for us. If he'd have laid off the rest of us, we might have let him live. You want me to adjudicate a settlement between thieves? Thieves? We didn't filch nothing. We killed Vile Arson and took his property by rights of the Circle of Fifths. She nods. Little gnashing nose is right. As our weakest, she'd earned a right to the spoils most of all for the abuse Vile Arson heaped on her over the years. I'll hear your plea if everyone is in agreement of my involvement. The choir woman nods. I certainly am. I'd like to settle this and put it behind us. What of the rest of you? I am also interested in this Fatebinder's ruling. Let an outsider weigh in. Surely then you'd see the greater weight of my contributions. One of the more timid Horde members ducks her head, scratching through the back of her hair. Are you sure? I've heard bad things about inviting the court's judgment. Once a Fatebinder gets involved, their ruling is absolute, isn't it? She glares to Requiem and Chaos, reading their clues before she laments. Okay, I guess I'll go along with it. The last one shrugs. Doesn't matter to me. I've already decided to give up my share. I just wanted the bastard dead. Then let us proceed. Tell me what happened, and I'll determine how the goods should be dispersed. She cracks her neck and squares her back, eager to relay her part and be done with it. We all got tired of being cut on and watching him torture Nils. So when Requiem suggested the plan, I was eager to lure him into our trap. She glances around and speaks a little softer as she continues. I had to use my finest hooch. I brewed it in a bronze boot I found on the battlefield. But after a couple hours, I had him nice and relaxed, stripped him of his armor, and distracted him after that. That's when I snuck out from under the straw bedding. She runs a hand over the bloody markings of her skin. Long dried, but worn out with pride. Arson never did anything, eat, sleep, or shit without a weapon. But we hobbled him enough that I was able to hack him to ribbons. Eventually, he started crawling for the flap of the tent. Where Requiem had stationed me, he crosses his arms over his chest, standing broad and tall. I slit Arson's throat to end it, dismembered his body, and spent the night scattering his bits between the fighting pits, two latrines, and salivating beastmen. It was bloody and long work, but it was damn worth it. The last gang member flushes and shyly turns her face away under your scrutinizing gaze. I just stood watch a few tents down. I'm sure someone heard the screams, but no one came running, so it worked out fine. Who will lead you in Vile Arson's absence? Without a moment's hesitation, the quiet girl speaks up, sounding more sure than she has the entire exchange. Requiem. She saved us. Requiem. He nods brusquely. I'd follow these girls into the screaming jaws of death if they ask me to. I don't care which one's leading us when we get there. You all seem equally satisfied with the outcome of events. Why are you fighting over the goods then? The Horde member rubs her chin as if wondering herself. Finally, she offers a carefree grin. Guess it's just in our nature. If we don't take what we can, when we can get it, then how will we ever get ahead? Come on, Fatebinder. The weight's killing me. What's your call? The goods are to be split evenly, 4 ways, as this is the most fair and expedient resolution to your dispute. She laughs, face tingling a pleasant shade of pink under the splotches of her bloody war paint. After all that build-up, well, not to be fine yet. We didn't kill Arson for his damn rings. Even the Fatebinder thinks we should set it behind us so we can move on. Alright, I suppose I've got no complaint. He shrugs, but when he sighs, it sounds filled with longing for the fortune lost. Even split? Eb shakes her head, looking annoyed at some distant object in the horizon. I guess that's fine. I was hoping you'd give them some mathematically baffling division of rings that would drive them barmy trying to solve. She waves a hand at you with dismissive wag, but I suppose a boring, predictable, even split is fine. None of these are named. Ooh. Alright. Got us a staggering burn. I haven't really had to use those yet, but I imagine at some point the difficulty of battles will ramp up. Then again, I am playing in story mode, so it shouldn't really be a problem. We need the bodies, you mewling pissers. Face red, veins popping in her neck. The Scarlet Fury screams at the horde clustered before her. She waves her arms wildly as she shouts. almost dance-like in her agility, the blade clutched in her hand. Unlike you cockered pignuts, these conscripts can survive a battle. One of the Horde members spits a blackish mix of herbs and phlegm at the Scarlet Fury's chest. So they say to save their necks, but what good's the word of oathbreakers and cowards? Furious and nearly faster than the naked eye can follow, she slashes a return strike. A splotch of red blooms across the offending spitter's chest, a match to her fresh sputum stains. The crowd tenses like a coiled spring, ready to hurl themselves into a bloody fracas. This doesn't seem like something I should get involved with. This is the way of the Scarlet Chorus. The strong survive, the weak die. I'm gonna let them fight it out.
Spotted something.
Ah! Give up the loot, yo! Pretty good, pretty good. Scraps of food and cloth littered the floor of the tent. Alright, got some armor. Doubt it's better than what Eb's already wearing, but the seal's made with care and attention to detail. You recognize the sigil from the merchant house and over quill. Actually, it is better than what she's wearing. And I could probably color it too. Nice. There we go. I want to go the other way. Yeah. There we go. Now we're talking. Bronze dagger. Not better than anything she's using. Faster, but slower. I mean, faster but less damaging. Pelix has been spiked through his rear, and the grating display meant to demoralize any surviving Vendrian guard that may catch word of his fate. Thick, dried lines of mucus run down his armor, a gift continually delivered by Horde soldiers with bitter memories of the Apex campaign. Sybil, the once defender of Echo Call Crossing, lies before you. It is difficult to tell where her fiery red hair ends and her injuries begin, through the layers of blood. Of all the wounds she sustained, a good number of them appear to have been made after her death. Nice. Nice. Enemies of the Scarlet Horse who have not yet earned a spike are left to hang the cliff wall until their death comes for them. Pretty gruesome. I like it. I like it. Seven toes. I take it he lost three. He or she. The voices wants to speak with you. Don't keep him waiting. I don't intend to. Oh, goods. Alright, some potions. I'll take them. Anything over here? Some goodies. Some loot. Yeah, maybe. No? Okay. There's the throne. Bodies of disfavored commanders are proudly displayed behind the voices in the rat's throne. Right. But where is old voices himself? I don't want to keep him waiting, but where is he? Am I just blind? Can't go up there. Oh, right there. Duh. The voices of the rat regards you with an unreadable expression. Sometimes we ponder the great, unwieldy thing that is our army. We try to imagine ourselves elsewhere, on some distant shore, without a care in the world. But then we would miss all the mayhem, the carnage, and the beautiful chorus of screams that follows. Better to stay the course and have a little fun. Eh, Fatebinder? As if proclaiming and resolving the same edict weren't impressive enough, you found the temerity to reject Graven Ash and support our right to conquer these lands. You deserve a just reward for when this is over, but it's too early to congratulate ourselves while there's still plenty of war to fight. Though we were less impressed by your treatment of our gangs and stalwart, you let them go to sleep on empty bellies. Tut tut, Fatebinder. The voices admonishes you with a raised finger. What do you need to know? We're busy with answers. How do you manage an army as vast as the Scarlet Chorus? They manage themselves, of course. Men and women of grit rise in the ranks to become gang bosses. When they make too many wounds, or their swords grow when they take too many wounds, or their swords grow too heavy, another boss claims their rightful place. In all our years, we've never granted a promotion. Conscripts and slaves are free to elevate their rank, or make up ranks as they go. The only condition is they have strength to defend the spot they carve out for themselves. Tell me of the Scarlet Course tenets. Tenet the first. Whatever you can claim through sheer force of will is yours for the taking. Those who think us chaotic should spend some time away from the farm and learn what it means to survive. That also means you can kill whoever you want. Kairos' peace extends to servants of the Empire, but these tiersmen haven't enjoyed the pleasure of our laws yet. Until they do, you can treat them like sport, and not even starchy old Tunon will get offended. Things get boring real fast when the war is over. Any other rules, if you must call them that, fall under the umbrella of that basic philosophy. Take what you want, but keep what you take. I'm curious about the Scarlet Core's history. And why wouldn't you be? Rest a spell and let her words wriggle around the chaos of your imagination. The great uninformed think the Scarlet Chorus is one of Kyros's many armies. In fact, they are our personal force. Beginning in the earliest days of our power, we cobbled together a rabble of miscreants from freshly conquered territories. The Scarlet Chorus has always been dredged from the bottom feeders. Then there are camp followers who skulk in our long shadows. As Kairos forged the rest of the great empire, we were used to subdue any lingering resistance. Those who oppose Kyros's peace joined their howling disharmony and lived or died in Kyros's war. Fitting fate, is it not? By the time Kairos set the magnanimous eye on the tears, it was all but assumed that the Scarlet Chorus would lead the vanguard. Though they answer to us, we are happy to loan their services for the Overlord's pleasure. Would you tell me something about yourself? Why, we're honored that you would ask. Over the course of our lifetime, we have eaten no less than 20 silver spoons, and plan on eating 20 more. Never mind why. I mean, it seems reasonable enough. They are silver spoons, are they not? Well, we suspect that isn't what you want to know. A puff of green mist swirls from behind the mask, taking the form of a smile before dispersing. Yes, that's exactly it. Tell me more. You want more? Well, we're happy to indulge. We once challenged the Archon of Winds to a foot race. We won by planting a lackey at the finish line beforehand, wearing a believable replica of her mask. We got to call her the Archon of Gullibility for a decade. The Archon prattles on for several minutes, abruptly changing the subject just when your attention wanes. It's like we always said, if the Beastmen tribes recognized the quarter of their potential, they could devastate Kyros's forces. He continues on to the next subject without pausing or giving you room to speak up. Tunon's gavel is only as powerful as his lawful right to wield it. Think about that. Does it muddle your senses to imagine how? As he goes on, you feel as if this good-natured discussion is entering dangerous territory. But have you plumbed the ocean's depths or peered into the spaces between stars? If people saw the world through our eyes, they wouldn't call us mad. We once dropped the seventh eye down a crevice just to see what was at the bottom. We were surprised to find you don't remember how the conversation got here. That frightens you. The Archon talks at great length, leading you down a labyrinth of rhetoric at once alien and fascinating, sensible and mad. While the voices could sway masses, you get the impression that he is just as accustomed to jabbering to himself in isolation. You leave the experience in a dumb disbelief, wondering what you've taken away from the exchange. That was incredible. Thank you. The pleasure is ours, resplendent Fate Binder. It isn't rare that we have a captive audience, but it is always amusing. I'm actually curious about your history. By all means, then, would you prize secrets from our green flame, or luxuriate in the calming wind of our brilliance? Well, you cannot! Every secret is as precious to us as 1,000 lives, and we will consign to the interrogators if we find you stealing even a recipe for hardtack. I don't wish to seal your secrets, Archon, only to learn from your brilliance. The voices of the rat regards you with an unreadable expression. Have at us then. You may question us to your heart's content. Show no mercy. Tell me of your rise to power. In our youth, we were the youngest scion of House Narat. These would be the early years of Kairos' reign, if numbers make any difference to your fragile matter. The Northern Empire wasn't the bastion of order and peace as we know it today. Our gracious overlord contended with sedition and lawlessness from his subjects, from his enemies, and even from the noble House of Narat. Whispers spread, as whispers do. House Narat never lacked in petty neighbors and bitter rivals. You must remember that these were delicate years for the overlord. An accusation of treason was as damning as treason itself. Something had to be done before we fell under the shadow of our family's guilt. How did you escape the shadow of guilt? We did what came naturally, of course. We took initiative. Before any accusation could fly, we had our family driven to the city square and pilloried among the masses of Kairos unfaithful. Before the shocked eyes of the community, we interrogated them one by one, flaying their skins with tanner's knives and putting their loyalties to the test. Father, mother, sister, aunts, all of them questioned, all of them found guilty. What city was this? In no tongue your ear would recognize, we called it Waterlock Marsh. You won't find our homeland on maps. That is a story for another day. Were they guilty? We don't remember. We remember choosing to survive, and we remember the sound of skin peeling away from muscle. The rest was formality. It was all demonstration for the overlord. This one can be trusted. A message that was gratefully received. Our devotion to Kairos was the terror and pride of the community. The son of the rat had grown to something greater than our family's name. In time, the Archon of Misery heard of our deeds and invited us into a better life. House Narat needed to be cleansed of treachery. If you truly believe so, then you're beginning to think like an Archon. Your body, the green flames. Why? We are greater than your confines. No stable form can house our magnificence. The flames about his neck flare out and form a regal collar. No mind could house our intellect. No body could entrap our skill. We are an all-consuming fire, unfixed and resplendent. You are art. Yes, and you are a receptive audience. You understand us more than many have tried or ever will. You said the Archon of Misery offered you a better life? He took it upon himself to be our instructor. He taught us to be the beauty of agony, how to slide the knife just so, how to divide flesh with no mortal wound, and how to inflict waking nightmares upon our foes. No more of our clumsy, blood-soaked effort for spectacle. True torture is sensory performance, staged for an audience of one. He made us an artist. We were proficient at our work. Our name spread beyond the boundaries of the child empire as people whispered it in private or shrieked in fear. Whole galleries were erected to display our accomplishments, which were studied and interpreted by head-scratching scholars. Our talent with the blade, rope, and saw grew so renowned that Kairos' faithful and unfaithful alike believed we could steal truths from their minds with little more than a stare. And in time, life imitated art. Such is the beauty of Kairos' domain, that the remarkable reign over the mediocre, and their talents are recognized, nourished, perfected. Why do you speak of yourself in plural form? That much should be obvious. We are multitudes, an army unto ourselves, a council of shadows babbling to be heard. Where there was one, now there are many. We are legion, a stream of consciousness given shape and intention. We are the voices of Narat. I want to ask about your power. You are a remarkable person. We must concede to your flattery, but we can't boast anything as incredible as power, can we? The green smoke behind the mask forms a crude smile. They say you're an interrogator without equal. What's your secret? We are full of secrets, and we can't be expected to share them with the adoring masses. We're certain that you have a few of your own and wouldn't want them brought to light. His empty, green eye sockets stare with intensity. But we do love a flatterer, don't we? A kind word here and there is enough to melt the coldest heart, of which we have several. I'm ready to learn anything you'll teach me. Teach you? Impudent, ambitious little morsel. Our lessons come at a steep price. He chuckles, sending a gust of putrid green smoke across the gap between you. You will one day come to learn of us in time. Observe the workings of the cacophony. Observe our grand design. One day, our talents will be laid bare before you. Hopefully not used against me, but we'll see. Have you ever tried to absorb another archon? It amuses us to no end that you would bring that up. A brave question, full of meaning, of questions, of challenge. The archon makes a determined fist and stares into you. We have had occasion to execute an archon or two when Baladan Mark was unavailable. This was all within the limits of the law, you understand. Someone gets an inflated sense of self-importance and decides to start their own small empire, and we step forward to volunteer our services. The experience was always less fulfilling than we had hoped. Their personality succumbs to us, but none of their power. A waste of potential, we call it. What happens after you interrogate someone? It's a transcendent experience. The subject and I, we grow to trust, depend upon, and even love each other. We have long since learned that pain and the intensity of our conversation make strange bedfellows. Applied together, anything can happen. Is your knowledge limitless? What a question. We know many things beyond the purview of the disgusting farmers and merchants you'll find outside our vaunted stronghold. Much more than any of them could learn in 100 lifetimes. When you know as much as we do, this much will seem obvious. It means uncomfortably closer to whisper. Nothing is limitless, child. So what's your plan? I'm ready to talk strategy. Of course you have questions. We'll be disappointed if you didn't have any. Our first priority is to humiliate that piss bucket Graven Ash. But we'll have a better chance of it once every corner of the tiers is wearing red. Do you see our design, Fatebinder? Does our madness complement our method? We will invite every man, woman, or child who draws breath and occupies this fingernail of a peninsula to join the Scarlet Chorus. Conquest by invitation. How very polite. Oh, don't encourage him. He's already got his own small council of sycophants in his head. Isn't it? Graven Ash would slash and burn this whole continent. We must counter his wanton evil with acceptance and tolerance for these poor tearsmen. Conquest is a delicate matter. It needs feeding, watering, soft caresses, a lullaby before bed. We will invite the leaders of the resistance to join us. If we have their leaders, the people will follow. You will bring them to us, yes, chiefs and the assets of chiefdom. As for how you factor into these plans, that part is up to you. We have many ingots in the fire. It's more of a question of what piques your interest. The Blade Grave is a beautiful pocket of disorder. An edict sheds the land to ribbons, and soldiers by the hundreds are led into the furnace of war. Angry sons of the stalwart, dubbing themselves unbroken, clash spears with the disfavored. We can use the edict and the conflict to our benefit. They keep the disfavored occupied, and the tears within our grasp. While these idiot juggernauts bash each other into ruin, we can extract what we need. The daughter of Graven Ash has been a prisoner to these stalwart wretches. Secure her for us and fetch her to the Cacophony straight away. Inviting Ash's progeny into the fold is an advantage we cannot ignore. Seek out also Jagged Remedy in Trapper's Junction. He has cornered a beleaguered unit of Unbroken. Help them recruit their leader, Matthias, into the fold, that he might help us reach the jewel of the realm, the great keep of Sentinel Stand. A document of great power, the Silent Archive, rests in the burning library. The archive is said to hold many secrets, any of which can twist to our advantage. One of our gang bosses, the Censor, seeks the entrance to this queenly treasure. Aid her in the search, and dispatch her back to us with any findings. Report back to us when we've finished. Our intelligence may be of use to you. What can you tell me about Bladegrave? Before our conquest, it was the region of Stalwart, warlike and fiercely independent in character. The region bloodline ruled by their torrid and often inbred lines of succession. Of course, the Edict of Storms has thrown that all out to disorder. Who rules the area now? A complex question with no clear answer. The Unbroken Legion, a rabble group of veterans from the stalwart army, struggle to maintain hold by force of arms. Behind the walls of Sentinel Stand, the last of the regents lives out his days, no doubt thinking himself as strong as relevant as ever. Tell me about the Graven Ash's daughter. As severe and uncompromising as her idiot father, we would like her to have a tower shield with a voice like a ram's horn warped out of tune. We met the girl but once, and we nearly came to blows. If war and the passage of years have softened her temper, then we should get along magnificently when you present her at Cacophony. About the Edict of Storms. Ah, your little handiwork. We envy you, Stormcaller, to have been the conduit for such power. It must have been a pleasure like no other. Swirling maelstroms now blast the land and Sentinel Stand. The fortified heart, the blade grave, is both trapped and imprisoned by Kairos' edict. The cowardly regent who survived the war hides there to this day, protected and imprisoned by Kairos' anger. Only by piercing the unforgiving fabric of that storm could anyone reach its heart and drive a blade through its core. What can you tell me about the burning library? A repository of books engulfed in the flame of Kairos' edict, yet the pages refuse to burn. The sages cast protective magic under their ancient archive. Books by the thousand lay bare for the reading, but forbidden and hot to the touch. Then there's the greatest treasure of all, the Silent Archive, an intelligent living text. The archive is safeguarded in the lowest depths of the library, locked away from the undeserving eyes. Our censor, dispatched to the library, seeks the archive as we speak. Must you bore us with the insistent ponderings? Go speak with her lackey, Seven Toes. She can weather the relentless assault of your curiosity. Hail, Fatebinder. The voices in the rat ordered me to answer any of your pestering questions. So I guess that's what I'm here to do, she scoffs. Not what I'd call lieutenant's work, but I'm not here to question the voices. You're clearly going places in the world, Seven. You should take pride in that. Verse looks the lieutenant up and down with an approving nod. She bows. Feels like a century since we ran together in Old Azure. He had more hair. I had all 10 toes, and better balance to boot. I always saw myself as more of a gang boss, but in the end, I carved out this cozy little niche for myself. By the time the war is done, we'll be unrecognizable, either lining a mass grave or leading forces from the rear. Isn't that right, big boy? She glances up at Barrack and jabs his breastplate. It's true that I no longer resemble myself, but under this armor I am still every bit the northerner who Ash recruited. Some things will never change. So what do you need from me? How do you and Verse know each other? She was my gang boss back when we were called the Spitted Darlings. Verse had just come off her other gang, the Seventh Oath, thinks to herself. The Bonnie Wastrels. All of them mauled or eaten by the beast in Azure. Of course you're right. Those weren't easy days, but damned if we didn't walk away with our lives and a few stories to our name. Tell me about yourself. I started out like most Scarlet Chorus rats, conscripted off the farm and armed with a pitchfork. It didn't take me long to warm up to the idea of Kyrus's army. We had more freedom than the Tears ever allowed, and I've never been opposed to joining the winning side. I didn't want to see the whole war from the front lines, so the first order of business was to kill my gang boss and take his place. Easily done. He was a louse. I ran with at least a half dozen gangs since the start of the conquest, and it funneled me all the way to the Cacophony. It's not an easy life. There's no lack of amusement to be had and plenty of opportunities for advancement. If you're curious how I got this gig, you can check out the previous lieutenant over there. She thumbs over to a still figure impaled on a spike. The Voices is a sucker for ambition and clever solutions to a problem. What do you think of the Voices no rat? He's the boss. He calls the shots and I follow. I don't ask a lot of questions. She glances around, uncomfortable. I'll say this much. You don't want to insult him, especially when he's going out about his art. He takes that sort of thing personally. Not that you could really tell under that great bronze helm of his. You enjoy your work in the Scarlet Chorus? I'm enjoying surviving, and right now the Chorus is the way to do it. This favor don't allow foreigners into their legion. Until the war is over and the Tears under Kyrus's heel, it's red or dead. I never suspected I would have a taste for the work until I got started at the front lines. Something about carving a path through your enemies and watching the army grow behind you is just satisfying. Makes me feel good to belong to something. What can you tell me about the burning library? It used to be known as the Vellum Citadel. It's not a pretty sight since Kyrus's edict of fire burned up the old sage fortress and made the treasure inside damn near unreachable to anyone. That won't stop the censor from trying. We still find reasons to fight for that flaming hole in the ground. There's something called the Silent Archive that the Voices seems to think he could recover. Even if we pulled some books out of that inferno, I can't think of anyone who could read them. Hey, what do I know, considering the place is a library? I guess we're talking about a book or many books. Go find a sage and beat it out of them if you're so curious. The sages refused to bend the knee and give up their research. What's more, they defended the Vellum Citadel by raining fire on the heads of our armies. Enough was enough, so Kyrus set the place to burn. The sages must have laid some protection on the library, because it seems to burn without burning, you know? It just stands there in flames, not turning to ash like it should. Who's the censor? One of the Voices' gang bosses. She takes the duty of controlling information as if the Archon couldn't do it himself. My guess? She wants to be the next Archon of Secrets, so she's positioning herself as the middle woman between the Voices and any words of wisdom he considered valuable. We'll see how long that lasts. Alright, I want to start with the burning library. I don't envy you the task, no matter what you find there. Good hunting. Nice. Okay, we're going to leave off here. We'll do the leveling up next time and also make our way I'm probably going to go to the crossing first. Well, we'll see. We'll make the decision